welcome to the Ask BCE Show. This is episode number 2. I'm your host, Kurt Belding. Today, on this episode, we have Tony Bock in as our guest appearance. And we're going to talk to Tony about scaling his business. Small business? Would you classify it small business, Tony?
Small business.
I know that most entrepreneurs out there have small businesses, and one of the problems they run into is, okay, at what point do I scale my business, and how do I do that? So, Tony, give me a little rundown on your business. What's the name of it?
Titan Applicators.
Titan Applicators.
Titan Applicators. I am co-owner of Titan Applicators. We were founded in early 2015, so we're coming up on 4 years, about 3.5 years in business right now. We are a polyurethane foam and specialty coatings company. We specialize in spray polyurethane foam insulation, spray polyurethane foam roofing, and recently have been getting into polyurethane foam concrete lifting.
Concrete lifting.
Concrete lifting.
You spray that onto the concrete to...
Yeah, it competes with mud jacking. So you basically inject the foam, and as it cures, it lifts the concrete up.
So I'm super intrigued with the spray foam. It's got I'm gonna cuss on this. It just is shit ton of applications that you can do with it.
Yeah.
And it seems like the quality of it is higher than what most materials that you traditionally would use, right?
Totally.
So,
yeah.
I'm super interested in it, but I don't feel like it's known very well yet, right? Is this a new thing?
It's not a new thing. It's been around since, I want to say, the 70s, 60s, 70s. But it's gone through trends. It's made some scientific and technological advances, I'd say, within the past decade that have brought it back and kind of beat some negative aspects of it, such as off-gassing and whatnot, that they didn't have the right equipment for, when it first came out. But yeah, it's trending right now.
Okay.
And the reason being is because it can satisfy a lot of energy requirements and energy demands that traditional insulations or typical materials wouldn't be able to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a need. You guys have done well in the business so far. How many employees do you have?
We currently have 5 employees.
5 employees.
Yeah, plus the 3 owners.
Right. And you're at the point where you're thinking about scaling.
Yeah, and the point that we're at, we got in just as an insulation contractor. We still are a full service insulation contractor. We focused primarily on spray foam insulation of residential homes, new builds, retrofits, a lot of agricultural applications like shops and metal pole barns and whatnot. Then we expanded into the roofing side of things, a little more risk associated with that, so we leveraged that risk by subbing our labor out essentially to some general contractors that we built relationships with. The nice part about it is, although it's different applications, once you have the skill set on the equipment and the foam, the process is transferable. It's not totally transferable because there's different skill sets specific to each application.
Yeah.
So we slowly got into roofing. We have since added that on significantly to our business, and then it takes the same equipment, similar process as far as the equipment and the application's concerned for geotech is what it's called, but it's the concrete lifting. It's just a geotechnical foam is what we use. And we're trying to scale back on other aspects of our fiberglass business. So, in 3.5 years, we've molded from full service insulation, just insulation, to we want to be very specific with what we're offering in the insulation world. And we're redefining ourselves right now with what we do. But along with that comes the scalability, because, getting into these different industries requires capital, knowledge, employees, different skill sets. So we're as owners, we're constantly learning, and we are fortunate enough to have a couple solid individuals working with us as employees that are as committed as we are with our growth, and they see the big picture. And we're trying to find people like that to surround ourselves with, that'll get on this mission with us, but along with it comes training them, finding the jobs, sales. I mean, so it's the stuff that we as owners we're totally excited about. That's what we wake up for every morning. But it also helps finding what other people are doing in other industries and how they're finding successes, or maybe what failures they've seen, so that we can avoid them in our industry. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're redefining ourselves. We're specialized in certain areas. We want to grow into other areas, and we're trying to find the capital and the resources and the manpower to implement that.
Okay, let me back up a little bit here.
Yeah.
So you guys, one step of you guys scaling a little bit was subbing out the work, right? Like you guys hired on some subcontractors, right?
We have not. No, we subbed ourselves out.
Oh, you subbed.
Yeah, rather than going out and selling. That was in the roofing aspect of things. Rather than going out and selling roofing, we found general contractors that were already offering within the commercial roofing world for flat roofs, spray foam and coatings. And we just built a relationship with them for them to use our services and specialty, but we, it wasn't our job.
Right. Understood. One thing I think you did really well is not locking yourself down into a product. Meaning, like, this is what we do and this is only what we do. You have to open up those gates and those avenues and stay flexible and moldable as a company. Say, oh, let's get into roofing now. Let's get into this. Let's go to that avenue to grow and expand this. So I think that was really good, man. But so at this point, what questions you have for me or the people watching on where you're at? What are you trying to solve right now?
The scalability. I'd be interested to know what your experience was since you've started from the beginning with what you've done right away to adding on the different businesses that you have, and how you've utilized systems and strategies in one to help launch the other, or maybe what conflicts that you've seen in doing so, and how you've gone, successfully or maybe unsuccessfully implementing these things.
One thing we know about, like, being a small business owner is you wear all the hats, right? You're the sales guy, you're the technician, you do the labor, you're the bookkeeper, you're the marketer, you're everybody. So that's the first thing you have to do, is remove yourself from some of these positions, which means teaching and training. And, well, first and foremost, you need the capital to do it. You can't hire someone if you don't have the money to hire the marketing person, the salesperson, the labor force. You got to have that. So that's the balance right now. Is like, all right, we're overwhelmed as hell because we're doing every job. We want our company to grow. We want to get bigger. We want to make more revenue. But how do we get more revenue if we're doing every job and then be able to remove ourselves from that position? Right. When I say remove yourself, I mean like train someone to do that position that you're doing, right? To remove yourself. And you just have to know that if you're going to do that, that person that you train to do that position is never going to be doing that position 100% the way that you would do it, or do you think the quality you would do it.
Right.
You have to, if you can get that person to do it 80% of what you would do, that's a win. That's really good, because even if you lose that 20% of what you would do, now you're off doing something else that's going to grow the company even bigger and better. Give up that 20% of perfection to be able to free yourself up to do what might be more important for you and your company.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that's the way to scale it, as far as like hiring on staff and freeing yourself up for time. But I know we've talked a little bit about your company in the past, and one thing I know you're in a position right now is, at some point you have to take that chance. You have to take that risk, and it's a risk. It's a gamble where, like, you could stay right where you're at right now and be good, and you can work out systems. You can dial everything really nice where your company runs really well, and you could probably do that for a while. I'd say next 2, maybe 3 years. Run exactly where you're at and make a pretty decent living. But I mean, as entrepreneurs, if we're not growing, we're dying, right? So now you're at that point, it's like, okay, you kind of have to like suck it up a little bit, and if you want to scale the business, you've got to take a risk in scaling the business. So you may have to hire on the person that's going to free you up to scale, but you don't have that money to do it
Right.
in the right have to get right. So
Right.
like you hire that person, put all that control into your hands. So maybe you hire on the bookkeeper, maybe you hire on the labor of actually completing the job, and you become the salesperson and the marketer to bring that money in to actually pay for that person's position.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But the beauty about this is not like we're going up to Blackhawk and throwing $50 on red and hoping that we win. We have zero control over that, right? You have a lot of control over the success of your business, especially if it's you that's hunting and bringing home the money, bringing home the meat.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's the risk you're referring to.
That's the risk, because if you're bringing on more employees, that's the only way to grow and scale your business.
Yeah.
Is you need help, you need people doing jobs that you're doing right now. That's money.
Right.
That's payroll that you don't have. You would have done it already if you had the money for the payroll, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the risk is you bring that person on, free you up to go make that money, to bring home that money to pay for that person's position.
And and I'm fortunate enough to have two other business owners where we all own a substantial, amount of the company or percentage of the company. So I think that we've reached that point now where we wouldn't be where we're at if we didn't have the other two involved.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing is that all three of us want something more than what we currently have,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all on that same mission. We're all on that same page. Do we always see eye to eye? Not always, but now, okay, because it's becoming more than what three owners can control. We're constantly waiting for the right time financially, or the right time, seasonally, or the right time, once we have enough of assets with equipment to make that move, or waiting for that next check from the general contractor to come in that's 80 days past due.
Here's what's funny, I think, what you just said about the right time. It's like having kids. It's never the right time. Never. It's never the right time. Like, there's always something.
Right.
There's always something, that excuse to say, oh, I don't want to take that risk yet. I don't want to take that gamble.
Right.
And you're going to talk yourself out of doing it.
Totally,
right? Have you experienced that?
Oh yeah, paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, there you go. You analyze the hell out of things.
Totally.
Until you don't do anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wake up and analyze every day.
I don't know. So I guess the big point where I'm trying to make, and obviously it's your company, you do what you want to do, is it's never going to be perfect. And I think you sent that question in last week.
Yeah.
On do you wait? My answer to that, my opinion on that is, it's never going to be perfect. If you limit the risk, limit liability. If you can limit liability enough, or makes you somewhat comfortable, take the risk, take the shot.
Right. And I guess that's where I was coming from with my question, where it's, I understand the risk as an entrepreneur and as a business owner that we're going to have to take the jump, and I feel like we're ready to take that jump, and we're always going to make it work out. But based on your experience, from my question was, would you try to perfect the system first so that you put yourself in better position once you take the risk, or would you just throw shit against the wall and let it stick and just figure it out as you go?
There's no such thing as perfection of any system.
Right.
So what I would do is, depends on what systems you're trying to work out, right? You're probably doing the job already yourself, and you know them. Document it. Document what you know so far, and what happens a lot of times is the person that comes on to take your place, you teach them what you know of that position, and that person actually ends up doing that position better than what you could.
Right. Yeah.
And have that person create the system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
So document what you have right now, and also think about it like this, is like, if it takes you a year to feel like your systems are perfect, what could be happening? What'd you miss in this whole year? Let's say you missed $50,000 of money you could have brought into your company. That's not just missing $50,000. That's missing $50,000 over the lifetime of that money, what that money could have done for you.
Right.
I would act.
Yeah.
I would move on it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool,
man. Well, this is a Q&A show, so we have some questions that have come in over this week that we're going to answer, and you want to jump in on some of these questions, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, first question, Alex. Who we got?
All right. First question is from Garrett Beathy. If you were to invest in someone that wants to flip homes, what kind of business plan would you want to see?
All right, Garrett Beathy, his question is, if I was to invest in someone to flip homes, what kind of business plan would I want to see? Garrett, I want to see big returns on my investment, and I want to see low liabilities. I want to see almost guaranteed money. That would make me want to do it. But the reality is you can't guarantee any return on investment, no matter what investment it is. But as far as a business plan, what I want to see in a business plan is, I want to see, if I'm investing into your business, I'm investing into you. I want to know that you've done your homework on it. I want to see a business plan that is very detailed and laid out, that you've done all the thoughts, all the work on it. And tornado drill, I guess.
BCE Show's on.
Do we need to exit the room? My point is, I want to see that you've worked really hard on this business plan, because I'm investing into you. And if you don't work hard on the business plan and you present a business plan that's half-assed, you're going to half-ass the job.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you money if I think you're going to half-ass the work. So that's what I want to see out of a business plan, whatever business plan that is. I want to see you work your ass off and put a lot of thought and time and energy into that business plan. But as an investor, I want to see low liabilities and high return on investments. What do you think, Tony?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Let's make some money.
Let's make some
Invest in some property.
Cool.
Question number 2.
All right, this one's from Danielle Ashby Price. What are the benefits of amino acids? Why are they important in our daily life with lifting?
Danielle, and her question is, what are the benefits of amino acids and why are they important? Obviously, a big company that I run is a sports nutrition company, so we do a lot of products and product development. So amino acids are super key, Danielle, into recovering and repairing your muscles. So whether it be whatever work, me and Tony, we do a lot of CrossFit, so we break down the body quite a bit. But if you're just running body, don't knock CrossFit over there, Ben.
We're breaking our bodies down.
I saw you come in and do some workouts with me. I mean, I'm not sure what happened, but I'm pretty sure I kicked your ass.
You were using the women's weight.
Amino acids helps to repair, recover, and rebuild that muscle. So whether it be running, yoga, CrossFit, or bodybuilding, as Ben would put it, you need those nutrients to rebuild and recover the muscles. Your muscle is made of amino acids, and it needs that. So I think that answered that question.
That's on
Do you take aminos?
I don't. I probably should.
Here's my plug for you today, Tony. Tony's leaving with some New Age Nutrition branched chain amino acids. Next question.
All right, Janet Mahoney asks, so you said you got where you are today from failure. What kept you going forward from failing all the time?
Janet Mahoney, and full disclosure, that is my mother, my mom. Typed in. Yeah, hi Mom. Hope you're watching. So her question was, I've got to where I'm at through failure, a lot of failure, and that's how you learn to be successful, is learning what not to do, right? What keeps you going through all that failure? Man, just to be straight with that, this is a little bit on the maybe deep side, is whether we like it or not, what people think of you does affect you. So a big portion of me keep going through failures, I didn't want other people to think that I was a failure. So that was a big driver. And then also I'm super optimistic. So even though I may be going through a failure, I always believe that there's success on the other end of it. So I forget about those failures really quick, and they don't stay with me for very long. And you don't fail if you don't give up, right? It could be my entire life could be full of failures, but if I never give up and I hit some success when I'm 80 years old, well, guess what? I'm a success, not a failure, right? So I don't know. Tony, have you had any failures in business?
I've had plenty of failures.
Give me one.
Oh man, we have taken on a few commercial projects in the spray foam realm, in the insulation realm, where we're probably a little too young and eager as a company, and lack the manpower to to execute and to perform as a full-size company or an established large company that has the manpower to do so. And we had to hand the job off to another contractor. But going back to that question, one of the things that I would say to that is my why. You know, I'm very passionate about what I do on a daily basis. One of our big mottos in Titan Applicators is, at the end of the day, we know that we're going to make mistakes. We want to be great at what we do, but we want raving fan clients. All of that is good. That's what we do on a daily basis. We're really good at what we do, and we're very passionate about what we do, but it's the vehicle to my why. And when I wake up on a daily basis, I want to provide for my family. You know, I want to leave a legacy for everybody that I come in contact with, and defining that why for me. And I think you and I had this conversation at the gym one time where, you know, having that why as the driving force to all of your actions is you know, probably the most important thing, especially if you're taking risks as an entrepreneur. But even for the employees, you know, if we didn't align our company with the 2 or 3 employees that are completely bought in and are, you know, they're the lifeblood of our company. If we didn't align that vision with their why, it would be a clash, and they probably wouldn't be as passionate about it. And then they're just showing up and going through the actions. And yeah, my
Man,
why.
that's big. The why, you're right, man. You hit that one on the head. Is the why is most important. That's what keeps you driving, because the reality is, like, and again, long game, right? Like, we may have some small failures now, but if our long game 10 years from now is a place, and we keep that macro goal in mind, then all these little shit doesn't matter. Little shit that stresses us out from day to day, it doesn't matter, because one, we're keeping our why in mind, and that's why we're doing this, and then we're also doing it for the long game, that big vision that you have.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I think
Exactly.
you hit that one on the head. So, all right, cool. I think that's a good one. All right, next question.
All right, next one is from Matt Hessen. What do you do when you feel like you hit a wall, whether it be personally or professionally, and how do you handle it and keep moving forward?
Matt Hessen, what do you do personally or professionally, right?
Yes.
When you hit a wall, and then what do you do to keep moving forward? I think we kind of answered a little bit of that in that last question, is your why, is keeping your why in mind and keeping that macro view of that ultimate goal, what you want, because some days are good, some days are bad, man. Like, in entrepreneurship, it's a roller coaster. One day maybe kicking you in the ass, the next day you're on a high because sales are good or whatever happened. But when you hit that wall, typically, in my experience, when you hit that wall, it's because you're telling yourself a story that's not typically true. Whether it be you're not good enough, or you're going to fail, or whatever story you have running in your head is getting in your way. So I would rewrite that story. And when I think of hitting a wall, I think of like super just down and out, like fucking business is kicking my ass, and I'm thinking about, man, should I quit? What am I doing being an entrepreneur? Like, no one in their fucking right mind would ever choose to be an entrepreneur, you know what I mean? Maybe I should clock in and clock out, and I don't have to think about business after I get home at night and wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, so Matt, I understand what that question is, man, and I feel you, but again, I'm just kind of rambling. But the big point I'm trying to make, man, is keep that why in mind. Recognize when you're telling yourself a story that's not true, and keep that big goal, that big vision. Tony, you got anything to add to that, man?
No,
What do you
you
think?
nailed it.
Yeah?
Yeah. The why.
That roller coaster of entrepreneurship, man.
Oh, man.
Ups and downs. Is that you can be on a big high because something's going right, and then all of a sudden everything goes to shit.
Yeah. I think it was Tony Robbins that said it, or I know last week you indicated that you know Gary and Tony and all them. I follow quite a bit of their content as well, and if I remember correctly, and I'm probably not going to nail it, but you know, is if the end goal, the ultimate goal, should always remain the same, and you can come up with an action plan to get there, but you're going to get punched in the mouth every day, and it's always going to be changing. But it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you're still shooting for that goal.
That's right.
And it couldn't be more true. If you're passionate enough about where you're going,
Yep.
you'll make mistakes and learn from them, continue on.
That's right. Good.
All right.
All
Next
right.
question. Is this the last question?
Last question.
Unless we have live questions. Ben, do we have any live questions?
No.
I mean, there's so many, right?
No,
We have so many
yeah.
viewers.
Bunch of
A lot of,
emojis, thumbs up, clapping hands.
Cool.
Cool. All right, last question. Marjorie Walway asks, what do small business owners do to avoid having their vendors or suppliers treat them as small potatoes whose orders are lower priority?
Yeah, so Marjorie's asking, basically, what do you do when you're a small business and your vendors don't really care about you because they're not making a lot of money off your orders, right? So, Marjorie, the biggest thing is to understand that you can't control anybody else. You can only control you. So you can't control what these vendors, what these suppliers are going to do. The only thing you can do is show up and be the best person you can be. That's the golden rule, right? Treat everybody the way you want to be treated. So even though this vendor may not be returning your phone calls or answering emails, or they haven't got you the product in 2 to 3 weeks, or invoices, which we experience quite a bit, right, guys? And which blows my mind. I'm trying to call them, say, I want to give you money. Like, can I buy your stuff? Here's money. Will you take my money, please? And it's like they don't care at all, like, how are you staying in business when you don't even, like, I'm literally like, how can I get you money? Most companies are like, how do I make money? I'm like, how can I give you money, right? So you can't control what they do. Golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated. Just I would be super kind to them, even though there might not be to you, and find a different vendor. Hopefully you're not locked down to that vendor where you're relying upon that vendor. And if you are, change that. Find a different vendor that you can get the same product or service from that will actually treat you the way that you should be treated. And at the end of the day, when you're no longer a small business and you're a larger business, remember what that feels like to be treated that way and never treat one of your customers that way. Right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
We deal with that on a daily basis. We are always being contacted by new vendors to purchase their products, and one of the successes that what we hang our hat on as the 3 owners of Titan Applicators, and what we've seen our success from is being ourselves. In every business relationship we go to, we go out and we sell ourselves and we sell Titan Applicators. But at the end of the day, what we've found is that a lot of relationships that we've built have been because of us, not because of, we use a better product than somebody else, or it's just because of us, because we've, and it's the unfortunate truth, because in business you should assume this with anybody that you do business with, that they're going to do what they say. When they say they're going to do it, they're going to admit their mistakes, and they're just going to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we've seen our success on, and that's what we look for when we're choosing our vendors. I don't know how easy it is in other industries, but in our industry, there are enough of them out there where if once you find that person, it's a small enough circle that we're even willing to pay a little bit more because of that relationship, because we don't want to risk what the other relationships might bring to our company.
How it'll affect your company.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It'll cost us, even if we pay a lower cost somewhere else, it'll cost us more whether the shipment's late, or the product's not manufactured quite as well, or the support that they provide isn't quite as good. It'll cost us more in the long run than paying a little bit more up front.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good point. And we do that too in our business. Sometimes we're happy to spend a little bit more on good customer service and with a good relationship that we've built with the vendors. So
Right.
At this point, we do have a question coming in.
Yeah, it's from Marcy Ruth Molina. It says, do you have any advice for financial loans or credit building?
Credit building, financial loans. Marcy, I'm not a financial institute. I am learning a lot about financial advising right now. My biggest advice is watch that interest rate. If you're going to have a loan, first of all, make sure you have a plan to repay the loan. Like for example, if you're scaling your business and you want capital, right? You're like, well, I'm going to get a loan to help pay that employee or build this portion, or maybe it's offices or whatever, right? Well, if you don't have a plan to repay that loan, don't do it. Episode number 2, guys. We're figuring it out. Yeah, watch that interest rate. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of the question, Alex?
Credit building.
Credit building.
I imagine she meant like building your credit to get a
To get the financing, right? Credit building is all about just paying your bills on time. Credit is important. You do, especially for an upcoming small business, because at some point you are going to need some capital to scale your business, to grow your business. But if you don't have credit and you don't have the means for a loan, that doesn't mean the game's over for you guys. There's a ton of money lending people, investors out there that would invest into you. Sometimes you may have to give up a little piece of the pie, a little ownership of the company, or you may have to pay a little higher return or a higher interest rate on that. But that doesn't mean that you can't get it done. There's always a way to get money to do what you need. Tony, do you have any experience?
Let me ask your opinion on this. So I'm always asking, successful, seasoned business owners, their advice on growth and funding that growth. And a lot of the old school guys, the common theme has always been, don't invest in a piece of machinery or an aspect of your business unless you can pay cash for it. What's your opinion on waiting for that to happen or leveraging it through a financial loan to
That's a
fund
good
the
question.
growth right now?
I know that old school thought, and it's not wrong. It is correct. Like, Reese, you all right over there?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
sweating. He's just holding the boom. Yeah, it's correct because because that money's not costing you any more money, right? Like, so if you're taking a loan, you're paying that interest, and that money's costing more than what it should, right? And if you can do that, great. But cash is king, man. Like, I don't know. My philosophy is I like to hang on to my cash. I don't mind using other people's money. I don't mind using the bank's money because a lot of times you get that loan, you get that financing, that money can make more money, and you could do it now rather than waiting a year, 2 years down the road. Where time is everything, man. Time is everything. You can't get back time. Right. Like we were talking about earlier, maybe it takes 2 years to save up that money to buy that piece of machinery. Well, in that 2 years, what's your cost of opportunity there? Like, how much opportunity did you miss, and how much money are you missing in those 2 years? Multiply, let's say that number's $50,000. Multiply that by the next 40 years of your life that you're going to be doing business. Time is huge, and we're not getting any more of it.
Right.
We're only running out of time. Long story short on that, I agree. You want to lower that cost of money, but time is more valuable. And nowadays you can find loans with much lower interest rate. It used to be you get a loan for 12%, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Now you can get a loan for at 4 or 5%, maybe 6%. And that cost of money is definitely worth the time that you save, I think, man.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Any other questions? Nope. This is a long one, huh? This is a long episode. It's good. Nope. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Ask the BCE, the blue collar entrepreneur. I got another blue collar entrepreneur, Tony Bock, here's my guest today. And I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Keep the questions coming and we'll keep answering them. Thanks.